Yeah,
That's it.
got it.
Got it.
Retweeted.
Awesome. And we are now live. Welcome everyone to another edition of Fixture Focus here on American Hammers TV. I'm your host as always, Justin Wasick from Chicago. Have a couple special guests with me today.
Special?
Yeah, special, absolutely. All my guests are special. I tell everyone that. But a couple of the guys from the Same Old Arsenal podcast, Lee and Craig. Gentlemen, how are we?
Oh, very well, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting us on. It's always nice to cross over and talk to fans of other teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I've got nothing against the Mighty Hammers. I enjoy West Ham. I've got a few good people that I know that support West Ham. So, no problems coming on a West Ham channel.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about it a little bit before we went live. I think we can all have a common ground in that we sort of hate those guys over at White Hart Lane. But that's for another show. So let's kick this off, boys. You guys are from the Same Old Arsenal podcast, as I mentioned. I always love to hear origin stories, how you guys started it, sort of the background of the following. You guys have a pretty big following. I think a little over 10,000 on Twitter. So yeah, whoever wants to take it would love to hear that origin story and sort of figure out a little bit how you guys started.
Do you want to tell them, Lee?
No, it's don't you, mate. Don't you. All you're doing.
So some of the Arsenal fans might know that I used to do a YouTube channel called The Gooner Talk many moons ago, and that's when I met Lee through the internet, through Twitter, through supporting Arsenal, and I invited him on one night, and he agreed to come on, and the rest is history, really, between me and him. But we just. I don't know what it was with me and him, really. We just kind of hit it off straight away. Forged a great relationship through football, through friendship, things like that. And I stepped away from the Gooner Talk, and I kind of took a break from it. And then I started up another podcast, the Same Old Arsenal podcast, with another very good friend of mine, Mems. And we got a few episodes in, and we had Lee actually on the first one. We got a few episodes in, and unfortunately, Mems was in a position where he couldn't continue. So I said, right, what am I going to do? Now here I am sitting here now left on my own with another podcast to do, which wasn't the ideal situation. So I rung Lee up. And I said, how do you feel about being the co-host of the Same Old Arsenal? He agreed straight away. And as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were saying originally it was meant to sort of highlight or showcase some.
Well, the idea was half the reason why it's called the Same Old Arsenal, really. The idea was that we were going to create a podcast. We were going to take the stupidest Arsenal tweets we could find and basically just take the mickey out of them. We were going to be a podcast where we weren't going to take ourselves too seriously,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people start podcasts and they fall into the trap of wanting to be massive straight away. Do you know? It's a hard thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Build a YouTube channel up, build a Twitter following up. It's a very, very hard thing to do. Now, I say to anyone that wants to do it, go and do it. Because you can meet some great people. Mine and Lee's story speaks volumes, but a lot of people fall into the trap where they think they can sit in front of a camera and talk about football, and it's going to get thousands and thousands of hits. I mean, we get on average, our view tally on average is about 10,000 a video. Sometimes we could get 700-800. We've even had up to 1,000 people watching us live.
Oh wow!
But that's 3 years' work.
Right.
That's not just happened last week, or that just didn't happen when I said, right, let's do the same old Arsenal podcast, and 1,000 people came straight away. That's not. I mean, we used to do. I mean, when we first started, we used to do a live show to 20 people.
Yeah,
You know, but it wasn't never about, and Lee will tell you this, it was never about getting hundreds of thousands of views.
No,
Right.
it's never been about it.
No,
and I think
never.
that's what you got to do. We just done it for what the concept that we tried to do was also, and I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, is we just felt like it's mates together having a chat, talking about football, talking about the Arsenal.
That's all it is.
It's because that's the club we love, and it didn't matter. It's never bothered me whether it was in front of 20 people or 2,000, and that's the way we've done it. And we've you know, it's great for me when I was going to games. Well, obviously I can't go to games now, but when we was going to games and people would turn around and say, "Oh, you know, I love you on the same old Arsenal. Really love the show." You know what I mean, and things like that. Taking it away from the AFTV stuff, and I always feel that was a real positive for us to do that, you know. So to get a different, really, we've got a different following to what the following is on AFTV, say for instance. Right. So that was always the way it was, and we've met some great people, and I went when Arsenal played in Dublin. You know, I've known Craig, it must be about five years now. Mm-hmm. But we never met, and so when Arsenal played Chelsea in Dublin a couple of years ago, I flew out there and we met up and went to the game, and we done a bit of stuff.
It's like we ran down the road and it all went in slow motion, you know.
And it was fantastic, like, you know. So we done that, and like, you know, when we went to Dublin, it was unbelievable. People, you know, not just coming up with the AFTV stuff, but we had fans following us, you know, same old Arsenal, you know. It was great that we was together to be able to experience that as well. Yeah. Like,
but we have a great team. It's not just me and Lee. We've got Graham, we've got Harry, we've got Dan. And
Mark, don't forget Mark.
Yeah, Mark. We've got Nigel as well, who we have a chat. Well, I mean, like, our chat box is crazy when we're doing a live show, and I've even got a moderator in the chat. So it's a massive team. It's a massive team effort. Mark, Dan, Graham, Harry, me, Lee. There was times there where I suffered a couple of years ago with some mental health problems, and I had to take a step down. Mm-hmm. And the boys carried on for me, no questions. There was no questions. The boys carried it on. I owe Dan massive heaps of praise and massive heaps of thanks for keeping it going, and he has done. And when it was my turn to return, the boys just opened the door and said, "There's your seat, mate. Let's go. Let's carry on." And ever since then, it's been going from strength to strength. Not saying that me coming back's made it any better, but. No, I mean that. No, I'm not. I actually mean that. I'm not joking. Because I don't like. It's just like I said, the way we like Lee touched on, the way we want to do it is like five lads sitting around the round table in a pub with a pint in our hands, talking about Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys mentioned some great points. I mean, you mentioned the team behind you guys. Usually, some great things. There's always you need that support staff.
Absolutely. I mean, and of course, our followers and our viewers are. You know, I mean, we could probably do the chat box without a moderator. You know, I've watched some podcasts before live, and the chat box is like, oh my god,
yeah,
you know, it's cringe. Do you know? But the following that we've got, like Lee touched on. Pretty sensible, really, aren't they, Lee?
Yeah, and I also think one of the main things is, and it's something that I don't do, is you need a good host, you know, and there is an art to that, you know, and we're lucky that we've got Craig doing that, and if Craig's not doing it, Dan's he's a very good host as well. And I think, you know, that doesn't make a big thing of it, you know. If you've got someone that's not very good, like I've only just met you, Justin, you can say that you're good at what you do. There's some people that are not, and it can suffer from that. So it's not an easy thing to just go in there and say, right, I can be a host, you know. You know, so I think that you've got to have all those things going into it. And if you've got yourself a good host, or you are a good host, you're halfway there.
Yeah, and you guys touched upon something there. You guys were talking about your followers and your fans, and I know. Obviously, from the outside looking in, that there has been some, for lack of a better term, tension between. And Lee, I know. I mean, you've been a part of Arsenal Fan TV. I'm not sure exactly to what extent you are now, but I know that there has been some tension between Robbie and all those guys and the fans. Again, outside perspective, don't know too much about it. So my question to you guys is, what is sort of the overarching situation for maybe a West Ham fan watching this that isn't familiar with the situation, and has that tension ever seeped into same old Arsenal?
Well, no. Listen, I'm very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. I'll have to say this with the AFTV stuff, that I don't get no sort of dislike and things like that. So I feel very, very fortunate for that, you know. And when I go around to the grounds, you know, like go to West Ham with West Ham TV and things like that, it's always been very, very respectful and nice. Great. So I've always been lucky to have it. Of course, there's always going to be things that are going to go on, tension between fans, and there has been with AFTV.
Right.
Mainly because certain people are on the show that people don't like. That's always going to be by. They're going to get that. But also there's a lot. I didn't realise how big AFTV was until probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, wherever you go now, wherever I go, and not just saying like you can go to Cheerpool. I'm on the golf course today having a game of golf, and a couple of lads have come running up to me and said, "All right, how are we doing? All right, can we have a photo?" and things like that. It's just completely gone. Yeah, it's just gone. It's massive.
Yeah.
You know, and at first, you know, I used to say was a little bit not shy, a bit wary of having people want to have a photo of you because you don't want to be coming over as arrogant or whatever. So it was a case of like, well, if I say no, people are going to go, "What's that flash?" If I say yes, people are going to say the same. So you just have to take it as it is. If people ask for a photo and all that, you got to just say, I feel honoured. You know what I mean? So I'll do it. You know, and that's how it is. And it's just got really massive. And I think there is a little bit of jealousy coming into the stakes of it all. And
interesting,
you know, and I get that. You know, the one thing with AFTV that it done, you had a lot of things like podcasts and people doing a lot of writing stuff and all that, like, you know, doing blogs and all that. And all of a sudden, this tidal wave of AFTV coming and the concept of it all, and it just blew everything away, you know, unbelievably. Now, West Ham have got their own TV channel, as you probably well know, and they're good guys, you know what I mean? Nick and all that know them all well. And there's a
they've come on the show as well.
Yeah, they're brilliant. He's a lovely lad, and I've met a few of the guys from there, and they're good guys. They do their thing, but they get a little bit of hate from the what I would say like the fierce West Ham supporters, as it all is. But all these teams have got them: Liverpool, Man United. Everybody have now got all these TV feeds. And listen, Justin, the only thing that I can say that, you know. And the way I look at it, you know, people say they don't dislike it, but you've got players watching it. You've got ex-players that follow it. You know what I mean? Like, and through AFTV, I've met people like Ian Wright, who watches the shows, and people like Kevin Campbell that watches the shows, and you know, players that I used to go and watch now know who I am because of that. It's a gift. It's a gift, and if you can take it as that, then it's great. And if it wasn't for AFTV, myself and Craig would have never met. And
very good point.
And doing the things there. Craig asked me to come onto it, you know, and I said, yeah, I'd love to. And we formed a friendship. And then you get to meet people like yourself now from America and Chicago for all of that. So it's all a great. So if you use it in the right way, it's a fantastic thing to have and to build, you know, be able to talk to it. And the greatest thing about it, from my point of view, is that before I went on AFTV, before it all blew up for me into this great big thing, I used to sit on Facebook or Twitter, and I wasn't even on Twitter or anything like that. I weren't on social media, but Arsenal had a bad game. I put on a comment on Facebook, "Oh, Mesut Ozil was rubbish today," like, you know what I mean? Comments, none. Likes, none. Whatever, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know. Then I went on AFTV. If I comment on about something now, it goes wild. So from that, it's opened me up to a lot of different things. So I appreciate what it's done, what it's got for me, but I also appreciate what, you know, the same old Arsenal does for me, because for me, it gives me, it's a different viewing people. It's a different audience. And even though it gets 10,000 to the 200,000 views that I get on AFTV, it's a 10,000 views that are different people or whatever, and they come on there to watch me and Craig and the rest of the lads. And it's very humbling, Justin, that people take out their day or their time to come watch you. And I played golf with my mate today, and she said to me, just listen to your same old Arsenal show on the way to the golf course. It's very humbling that they do that. It's a great feeling. Exactly.
I suppose it also determines what kind of a person you are. I mean, like, you've got the people who go on Arsenal fan TV, and they take to people like Lee takes to. I mean, walking around Dublin with Lee that day was, oh my God, we'll stopping every 2 minutes. Can I have a picture? Can I have but poor old Craig was like, yeah, I'll take it for you. When we went to Dublin and we walked into the Arsenal Supporters Club bar, people knew who I was. And it was the first time I'd ever walked into a pub and people had gone, all right, and into a city now that I live 300 miles away from. All right, Craig. Oh, it's Lee and Craig, look, from the same old. And you're walking through and people are going, all right, boys, come have a bit. Arms are coming round you and they're taking selfies and stuff. I actually didn't like it. I have to admit. No, I didn't. I said to Lee, didn't I? I said, I don't know if I
mean straight away you didn't like it?
Well, yeah, straight away I didn't like it, but I suppose as the day progressed and
interesting,
more people were coming over, and I suppose you get used to it.
Yeah, it did feel uncomfortable at first because you don't feel.
Yeah. I don't feel like why do people want a picture with me? Like, it's just really weird. Exactly. I'm just Craig. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. I have a normal job. I just talk about Arsenal on the internet. Why? But at the same time, very nice. But very nice, but very strange to start off with. If that makes any sense at all.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know how I would react to that, to be honest. But a lot of what you said, I mean, opening up doors, right? You guys mentioned that. I mean, American Hammer, West Ham, obviously a smaller scale compared to Arsenal, and then American Hammer's network compared to your West Ham fan TVs, for example, is on a smaller scale. But talking about opening doors, even for me, just being able to meet West Ham fans from across the globe, across the world, people that I otherwise
exactly just
would never meet.
If you keep that mentality that this channel is so you can meet other West Ham fans across the world, you'll do well.
Yeah,
you'll do well. If it stays just that, you'll do well. Once you start going, oh, I've got 15, 20,000 views that one, I might start trying to do this, that, and the other. Now, you could call me. People could say, "But you're doing that, Craig." But I am, but I'm not. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the viewers.
Right.
Dan and Graham now do the transfer talk on a Friday. It's not for me.
Right.
It's for Dan. It's for the followers. It's for the viewers, and it's for Dan and Graham to get them to put themselves out there.
The other great thing is Craig will agree with this, is that, and we 100% never done it for this, is that you get famous people coming on, like that have played for the Arsenal, or we've had famous actors that have come on and that are Arsenal supporters, but you actually never do that. We never set it up and go, do you know what, we want to get Ian Wright on here, or we want to get Kevin Campbell on here, or we want to get David Hillier on here, or we want to get so and so, Nigel Winterburn, whatever. These things just happen,
and it wouldn't be like the same old Arsenal interviews Nigel Winterburn. It would be a podcast and Nigel Winterburn sitting at the table.
Yeah. So and that will happen. That that's a great thing, and the interaction with players, is a dream for the likes of myself. Even to this day, what I mean, to talk to players and know who you are and all that. I can go on about all that sort of stuff. I won't go on about it, but it's been fantastic from my point of view that's been able to happen. Now, that would never have happened without the same old Arsenal or AFTV. That would never have happened, and that's how it is. But you can come on here today now, and we're in America, and this is going out in America. and people in America know you. Do you know what I mean? That's just as special as ex-footballers doing it and all that. Like, everybody everybody that comes on your show today, whether it's 1, 10, 15, 20, is special because it's you're doing something and somebody else is liking it. And I think that once you get your head around that, I think it's fantastic. When people come up to me and go, "Oh, well, love your interviews," and I always say, "Oh, thanks for watching." You know what I mean? Because they've taken their time to watch what you're doing.
Right.
And that's how it is. So, and there's no obligation to come and watch AFTV. There's no obligation to watch this, or no obligation for me to watch Match of the Day. It's what I choose to do. And and if someone chooses to watch us or chooses to watch you, you think about it. That's a fantastic gift.
Yep. Absolutely. And like I said, it's open doors. Shout out to Tim and Lee, who are the co-founders of this channel. I just asked a couple months after they started it to come along, and they were gracious enough to let me and several others produce content that we wanted. And so shout out to them for sure.
Well, it sounds like then that Tim and Lee are a bit like Craig and Lee, because that's what we did. Like, I brought Dan in, I brought Graham in, I've brought Mark in, Harry's got his own podcast. Harry's got a fantastic Arsenal podcast going. He's really, really going well with it. And I let them do what they want to do. Like you're being let do what you want to do. So if that concept carries on, West Ham American TV or American Hammers TV will become likable, and people will watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just trying to have fun, talk about the club we love, just like you guys, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing. So boys, let's transfer to your club. Actually, let's talk about players on the pitch. You guys have had a fairly busy summer, signing a few guys. Some big signings, obviously. Willian, you got on a free from Chelsea. You signed Gabriel as well. Both of those guys had great debuts for the club. I think Gabriel scored a goal and Willian had two assists or two.
3 assists.
3 assists. Okay, wow. And then did you guys extend Ceballos' loan? Is that what happened?
Yeah, got him for another year. We got him for another year.
Got him for another year. Okay. And then, of course, it technically wasn't a new signing, but it might as well have been an extension of your best player by far, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So we'll just love your opinion on twofold. One, the two new signings that I talked about in Willian and Gabriel, who played great. And then, of course, probably the most massive signing for you guys, a signing that you guys needed to make, in my opinion, the Aubameyang extension. Let's just talk about your opinions of the activity so far.
The greatest signing that Arsenal have made in the last few months is Mikel Arteta. You've got to, when Arsene Wenger was manager, you put all your trust in him. But then when he started to fail, it was like breaking up with a girl, right? You knew it weren't happening, but you kind of just you kept trying and you kept trying and you kept trying. So when it just it just all falls apart. Unai Emery came in. I think we were all a bit underwhelmed. With the appointment, but then when you look, he had quite a good record. He'd won the Europa League 3 times on the trot with Sevilla. He'd managed PSG, this, that, and the other. So he started off brilliantly, and then again the girlfriend thing comes around. But then Mikel Arteta arrives, and from his very first press conference, the geezer was just, I'm just there now with him. I'm there. Yeah. You can't, at the moment, the bloke can't do no wrong. People are complaining about the Williams signing, and bringing fringe players that have been on loan back into the side. Willian, Gabriel, people say, Gabriel's not good enough. He hasn't played in the Premier League, this, that, and the other. Willian's a washed-up old Chelsea reject. If Mikel Arteta wants those players to come and play for Arsenal, then bring them.
You trust him?
No complaints.
Okay.
If he wants to bring them in, bring them in. And I'll welcome them with our open arms.
Why do you think that is, though, Craig? Why do you think when you looked at Unai Emery's appointment and you were a bit underwhelmed, but then you look at Arteta straight away from the first press conference and you were just, why do you think?
Because you could tell from the players' language on the pitch that it weren't happening with Unai Emery, and it never was going to happen under Unai Emery. All right, we went on a 20 game unbeaten run. It was all great, you know. But once he got beat, and once the Arsenal players actually, when he'd settled in and he was trying to bring his ethos to Arsenal, you could see that the players weren't liking it. There was a lot of players, you could see it on the pitch. There was players running around. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know where they were supposed to be. They didn't know what position they were playing in. They didn't know what the formation was. You know, Mikel Arteta has come in, and all of a sudden, we're beating Manchester City in the semi-final of the FA Cup. We beat Chelsea in the final. We've beaten Liverpool twice. All right, be it on penalties once in the Charity Shield. But all these wins, as a fan, start to say, "Oh, you know, do the players actually get what he wants to do here?" And you can see it on the pitch by the way that we are playing. Even against Fulham the other day. All right, people should say Arsenal should be beating Fulham. We've got no God-given right to beat anyone. People are saying that people are saying that we're going to stuff West Ham. No, we're not. Because we've got no God-given right that West Ham are going to come to the Emirates and we're going to stuff you. That's not how it works. You've got to have a manager that's studied Fulham. You've got to have a manager that's going to study West Ham. And you've got to have a manager that's going to put his stamp on what he wants you to do. And with Mikel Arteta, I think we're going to be very, very successful. And I look forward to him. And as I said before, I trust him. If that's who he wants to bring in, let him bring him in, and we'll go from there.
Gotcha. Lee, what are your thoughts? Are you in the same boat as Craig there?
Yeah, I think Mikel Arteta is everything that we wanted when Arsene Wenger was failing. You know, we wanted a manager that was going to come in and look at the opposition and tactically get results. You know, like what was happening was Arsene Wenger was just putting the team out. It was going out there. It was getting beaten by the better teams because it wasn't being coached properly. It was just like, oh well, we're Arsenal. We can do this and we can do that. Now that's great when you've got the best players and everything, but there come a time when Arsene Wenger didn't have the best players. And what we're seeing now is in Mikel Arteta is something that we're seeing them looking at teams. There's a game plan. There's a positive a way about going about beating these teams, whether it be a defensive formation or an attacking formation. When we beat Manchester City and Chelsea, in particular Man City, we was taking them into areas where we knew we could exploit them, and we haven't seen that for a very, very long time. Now under Unai Emery, we did go on a 20-game run and it didn't work. Funny enough, it was against West Ham that we started that run, if you remember right, beating West Ham. But that day we could have easier lost that game. I was, funny enough, in America, in New York, watching that game. We could have easier lost that game, and there was probably in that 20-game run, we rode our luck on a lot of occasions. And that's fair enough. People will say, well, that's football at times. I don't see that with Mikel Arteta. I don't see us riding our luck. I see us constructively trying to break down teams, beat them. Our goals not being peppered. Every time we go forward, we look like we was going to concede at the back. What I see now is a lot of constructive defensive sides going in there. I see him getting the players that he wants. I agree with what Craig's saying that, you know, if he wanted David Luiz to sign a New Year's contract, everybody was going into meltdown, me included, because I don't think he was good enough. But then when you look at it, David Luiz has been a big influence in getting Willian to the club, and he's also been a big influence in getting Gabriel to the club. All of a sudden, two fantastic signings that we need. But, you know, and we need more. We need to sort out the midfield. I think that if we're going to go on better. But what he's done, just as he's made every single player, whether it be El Neni, whether it be Xhaka, whether it be Mustafi, he's made them better players. Now, if he can make these players better, imagine what he can do with the players what he really wants, and then make them better. You know, can he make Willian better? Can he make Aubameyang better? You know, and not just kids. And if he can bring in the likes of Partey and Aouar, then I think Arsenal will be a serious contender. Now, I always gauge it what other teams say about us as well. You know, I've got mates at Spurs. I've got people coming to the shop that are Spurs. My mate at work's a West Ham fan who works for me. And all of a sudden, they're turning around and saying, God, Arsenal look different class now. They look like they've changed. They're looking like they're this. They're looking like that. I've got Spurs fans coming in worried about what's going on at Arsenal. So from that point of view, something must be happening if other teams are worried about us. You know, like 2-3 seasons ago, we was not the laughing stock, but we was, you know, not on the radar. We wasn't on the radar. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden now we're on the radar, because if you can go and beat Liverpool, you can go and beat Manchester United, you can go and beat Chelsea, you can go and beat Manchester City all within 6 months, then there's something which was never happening at Arsenal. We was going to these teams and losing. I used to go to Anfield every season for a jolly up for the weekend, because it's a great place, Liverpool. But, you know, hoping that we could keep the score down. Not about getting a result and all that. I'm going up there next week. Well, we're not going up there. I'm not going up, but the team's going up there next week. I feel we've got a chance of getting something. I'm not saying we're going to beat them, but getting something. I'm not worried about, it could be a cricket score. I think, you know, let's take them on. You know, and we used to lose to the big teams tenfold. Now, we're still not there by a long chalk, because in these great runs of beating Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, we've also lost to Brighton, Tottenham, and teams like that, you know, drawn at home, hanging on against Leicester at one stage at home this season. You know, so there's been negatives as well. But what we're seeing is a plan being put in place, very, very similar to when George Graham took over in the 80s, young players coming through. And, you know, we was a million miles off winning the league when George Graham took over. Within 3 years, we've won the league. So I know it's a different format now and it's a different way of looking, but there's certainly things going in the right direction. And I agree with what Craig's saying. It's a lot to do with Mikel Arteta coming in there. But I will say this, you're only as good as the tools that you're given. Pep's a great manager or a great coach of Manchester City because he's got the best players. You know, right. I mean, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. You know, you can talk about David Moyes. David Moyes done a fantastic job at Everton. But you know, he's now, and so he's not a bad coach. But now he's got a West Ham, and it's hard to go to West Ham and get results. And let's be honest, when you haven't got a real player that's going to score you 20 goals a season. You know, Arsenal.
Or when you don't have a transfer budget at all to buy any new players.
Well, this is the thing, you know. But with Arsenal under Mikel Arteta, he's got 2 or 3 that could get 20 goals. You know, so you know, if you went to Mikel Arteta, go and manage West Ham, he's going to find it difficult because he hasn't got that 20-goal striker. You know, Mikel Arteta's coming to Arsenal. He has got that. And that's where. So you know, Pep Guardiola. Do you think he could turn West Ham into a title-winning side? Of course he couldn't. Right. You've got to have players, and you know, West Ham needs to. You know, we're talking about them down the road, Tottenham and that. You know, they're struggling. They've gone and got Gareth Bale. Whether you think it's the right thing to do, money-wise or whatever, it's give that club a boost. West Ham need a boost of some big signing to come in there. You know, a few years ago, Paolo Di Canio done it for West Ham, give them this great big lift, you know. So West Ham are very good players. Payet, what's a play? We know that season, I tell you, that was a season when he first came. You done us 2-0 at height.
Opening day, yeah.
That's right. And blew us away with some of those signings. You think, wow, you know what I mean? Why haven't we got him? Why is it? Where's this Dimitri? Why haven't we got him? He's French. Why haven't we got him? And, you know, and that's what a couple of signings can do. West Ham desperately need a couple of those sort of signings to just give everybody a big boost.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that. Before we do, though, I want to touch base on, you guys talked about it a little bit, some expectations. Obviously, with Mikel Arteta coming in, the expectations seem to be getting a bit higher now because you are starting to beat those clubs that are above you and that you aim to match. So you guys had a pretty comprehensive victory. It was against Fulham, but nonetheless, 3-0 is 3-0, and you can't scoff your nose at that. but expectations going into the season, what are they for an Arsenal team that finished eighth last season? I mean, is it simply top 4, or what is it?
You see, this is where then you go into the territory then where you get carried away with yourself.
Yeah,
right.
Easy.
Yeah, it's easy to do that. Yes, we beat. You go back and you look along, right? Like Lee said, we beat Manchester City, we beat Liverpool, we beat Chelsea, and these are teams that, like, we've got too used as Arsenal fans. We've got too used to going, oh Jesus, this lot are going to stuff us. Do you know? Like, we've got, oh God, we've got Mustafi and David Luiz at the back. We're going to get hammered. Mikel Arteta comes in, and all of a sudden, Mustafi and David Luiz look like Maldini and Franco Baresi. So you're wondering what's going on there. My expectations for the season are to challenge for the top 4. Certainly challenge for the top 4. Of course, I'd love to see us finish in the top 4. So we can get back into the Champions League. But we were blessed by the footballing gods by winning the FA Cup. Now we've qualified for the Europa League. If we win the Europa League, we can get in a Champions League that way. So it's not just all about finishing in the top 4 for me this season. Of course, I want us to finish in the top 4. I want us to win the league. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And it doesn't mean that I should think, just because what we've done over the past few weeks, that we've got a God-given right to be in the top 4. There's a lot of teams in the Premier League now that can finish in the top 4. I mean, look, you've got Spurs, you've got Wolves, you've got Arsenal, you've got Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea. There's a lot of teams that are coming from 10th, and they're starting to knock on the door. So we have to be wary of them as well as they have to be wary of us. Because yes, look, it looks like that we're gonna. It looks like that we might do better, or hopefully that we'll do better than last season. But I'm not going to get carried away, Justin. No, I won't get carried away. I want to start. Of course, look. Any football fan wants their club to finish as high as they can. I want Arsenal to finish as high as they can. But I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket and say, right, we've got to finish in the top 4, because that's not what it's about for me. Something's.
So it's about improvement.
Yeah, improvement,
okay.
and taking us on to the next level. Look at Liverpool, for example. Jurgen Klopp came in. It took Jurgen Klopp 4 years.
They finished 8th too.
Exactly. It took Jurgen Klopp 4 years to get Liverpool to the Klopp effect, and now look at them.
Yeah.
Now look at them. One of the best footballing sides in Europe. But when he took over, like you said yourself, they finished 8th.
Triple on them that season.
Yeah, there you are. You see, so I didn't see all the Liverpool when Klopp first came in. I didn't see all the Liverpool fans shouting and running around. Oh, great, we're gonna,
right.
They must be, to be a Liverpool fan right now.
Yeah.
It's do I cringe when I say this? Is kind of like they've waited so long to be this good. So I say, fair play to Liverpool, fair play to Jurgen Klopp. Great manager, one of the best in Europe, and he's showing it. But even Jurgen Klopp has said some lovely things about Mikel Arteta, So when you've got managers, and especially Pep, sat talking about Arteta the way he did, and when you've got Klopp talking about Arteta the way he did, hey, look, things are looking good.
Yeah. Lee, agree? What are your thoughts?
Well, listen, the expectations at the moment, and the top 4 are sewn up at the moment because we're not getting there. As simple as that. We might push for it, but we're not. We're at the end of the day, the 4 teams that have gone out there. Chelsea were better than us last season. Have gone and spent a load of money. Manchester City better than us. They've spent money. Liverpool have gone out and splashed the cash again today. And of course, Manchester United will always go and spend money. So, and they're all better than us last season. So then you look down the list, and they're 5th and 6th. Tottenham, I think that the way that they're going about things, I think we could get above them. But then I think that Everton have recruited really well this season. Wolves, Leicester. The reason Leicester blew out a lot last season was because with lockdown, they were having to play with a small squad 3 games a week. It took its toll on them. So. Things are changing. Arsenal at the moment have got to make 2 or 3 more signings to push for the top 4. Once, if say for instance tomorrow Arsenal signed Partey and a player like Aouar or someone like that, if they signed those two players tomorrow, I would be convinced that Arsenal could get into the top four and maybe even challenge. But if they don't, they're going to end up where they are now, fifth or sixth. And you know, it is now about the ambition of what the club want to do. Now, I think that they will invest again. And the other thing is just you can't turn around and say, oh, well, with this COVID, we haven't got the money and all that. Aston Villa have spent 66 million so far this side around, and they're probably going to spend some more.
Yeah.
That come fourth from bottom of the league. You look at Everton have spent more money than Arsenal. You know what I mean? Wolves have spent more money than Arsenal. You know, Tottenham have now spent more money than Arsenal. Chelsea have. Liverpool have. You cannot, you know, I never forget this when I was fortunate enough to be taken on a tour around Chelsea when I was doing some AFTV stuff. And 1950 was the last time they won the league. Then Abramovich took over in 2004. And then there was all these trophies from there on. What's the reason with that? Because they were spending the money. They was, you know, and when you turn around and say, "Oh, money doesn't buy you things," may be true, but in my lifetime, Manchester City and all the life I've been watching football have been to one cup final in 1980. Look at them now. Look what they're doing now. Why is that?
They were in Division 2 at one point.
Yeah. So. Don't ever tell me it's not about money. So you've got to invest the money in the proper areas. And if Arsenal don't invest in the next 2 weeks in some proper midfield players, then we're going to fall short. And we can have. It doesn't matter how well they play. You know what I mean? Because when it matters, they won't get enough points over these teams. You know, because it's going to come down to the league. It's going to be like, you know, what you can do against the top teams. Now, if the top teams have got better players than you, 9 times out of 10 they're going to beat you. You know, yes, you can beat them on an FA Cup game. You can do this and all that. But ultimately, over 38 games, Liverpool were 40 points better than us last season. We've not done enough recruiting to get 20 points better than them, let alone 40. And they've gone on again. You know, so that is the problem we've got. Unless Arsenal really are very, very proactive in the next 2 weeks, you know, we're not going to be there. And I don't care what anybody says. A good big signing. West Ham will come to them in a minute, but West Ham are the same. If you're looking at West Ham at this moment in time, if they don't make a couple of big signings, you're going to be panicking. You know, it's the same with us. You know, you need that as a fan. You need that little boost of hope. You know what I mean? Now, whether it be a manager coming in or that, but you know, if West Ham were to sign I don't know. Say, for instance, West Ham signed Aubameyang tomorrow. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, everybody be going, well, hey, West Ham, you know what I mean? There are players available, not going to get them, but but say someone like Suarez, who's going to leave Barcelona this week or whatever, he comes to West Ham. What would that do to West Ham? It would lift the whole place. Yeah. So transfers are very, very important. At this moment in time, I'm very, very happy with what Arsenal have done in the business. But at this moment in time, expectation, we ain't getting top 4 with that team. You know, and that's a fact. Yeah.
It seems pretty realistic. It seems that top 4 is pretty set right now. And you have Chelsea, and United haven't done as much as Chelsea, obviously, but I do think they're all better than Arsenal right now. But yeah, like you said, if for us we got a signing at this point, any signing, it would lift everyone's spirits up. It would affect the team. It would affect the squad. And really what's happened is sort of the opposite. We've just sold one of our really young, talented wingers, Grady Dangana. Yeah, that was sort of the tipping point, if you can say, with the owners. And that, really good friend of the show, Shane Thomas, who writes for The Athletic, he put it perfectly. He said the atmosphere around the club was like a funeral. And you have even our club captain, Mark Noble, saying how angry he was at the sale on Twitter publicly, and he doesn't do that. So to me, just like you said, a signing can lift the club. The reverse has happened in East London. The reverse of we sold one of our young, talented wingers who we thought was going to make an impact. We sold him to a relegation rival in West Brom, a team that we're going to be battling for survival with. And it has sunk the place. And
we know all about that, Justin. Don't worry.
Let's move to the match, though. Let's move to the match against us, because I know we only have a few more minutes here. But yeah, obviously you guys have heard and we've spoken about basically like what I just said, sort of the negativity surrounding West Ham. You guys have gotten a little bit of a boost, a good little 3-0 win against Fulham. So when you look at West Ham and hosting them this weekend, tomorrow, what are your thoughts and what are your predictions on how the match is going to turn out? And I would love a score prediction from you guys too.
Well, I mean, like, you can't, with teams like Lee said, right? We went on a 20-game unbeaten run under Unai Emery, and everything was rosy. Then we got beat, and then look what happened. You know, I think a lot of supporters, a lot of fans like to get a bit overconfident. Now, look, West Ham come to the Emirates tomorrow. Arsenal are flying high. West Ham are we're picking you up off, you are being picked up off the ground. Everything points to an Arsenal win. Everything points to Arsenal stuff in West Ham. But that's not football. I've played football and been involved with football since, for a long time. That's not what happens in football. In the world, in the words of Jimmy Greaves, it's a funny old game.
Yeah.
West Ham could turn up there tomorrow and win. You just don't know until.
That's why you play the game, right? That's why.
Exactly. So West Ham are going to come to the Emirates and give a good account of themselves. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure David Moyes is going to do the very best he can to put a team out on the pitch that he thinks can get something against Arsenal. But on the flip side of it, we've got Arteta in there now, who will look at West Ham and will watch videos and believe that he can pick a team that can tactically outdo David Moyes and win the game comfortably. Now, of course, as an Arsenal fan, I hope to believe, I hope that will happen, and that we'll come away with 3 points. But I don't like it when I go on Twitter and I see Arsenal fans going, "Oh, we got West Ham tomorrow. That's 4-0, 5-0, another 3 points. Lovely jubbly." I've never done that in football. Leo probably laugh now. I give some pretty crazy predictions on our podcast, but for the laugh. But we can't take West Ham lightly, and we must respect. We've got to respect West Ham. They're in the gutter at the moment. There's going to be a few. Perhaps there's going to be, the players are going to want to put something on for the fans, because like you said, something like Lee said and like you said, something that happened could lift. Beating Arsenal tomorrow will lift the whole of West Ham. We'll lift the fans. We'll lift the players. So it's very important that Arsenal are professional tomorrow. It's very important that they do what their manager says. But all said and done, I say 11-0 Arsenal, easy win, and we'll go from there. I don't think it'll be a stuffing. I think it'll be close. I reckon Arsenal will win it. Arsenal will win the game. I'll say Arsenal will win the game 2-0.
2-0. All right.
Funny enough, when the last game with the fans in the stadium was West Ham.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Was the last game.
We were actually.
Should have beat us.
Yeah.
Should have beat us. Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought I went with my mate Paul. We went together. And West Ham were the better team on the day. Missed a couple of open goals, opened us up quite easy, and I felt to myself, well, we got away with it that day. Now my thoughts of it all are quite simply that I watched West Ham last week, but I watched it for the interest because we got them the following week. Can they play as bad as they did that day? I don't think so. And I also think with this game, when you're playing someone like Arsenal or someone like that, you can say to yourself, the pressure's off a little bit because the expectation for West Ham is not to win this game. There was pressure for West Ham to win against Newcastle because that's the one they're probably expected to win. So they can go in here with a little bit of a free hit. I always feel that's a little bit wary. But I do think Arsenal are a different animal to the one that we played last time on the Emirates. That's what I was saying. I think we was a bit vulnerable in front of, I think, particularly first half, 3 or 4 times you opened us up. We've not really, if I'll be honest, Justin, without really doing a lot. It was just a long ball over the, it didn't open us up with great football. It was just passing down the channels, Antonio, showing up our weaknesses and as I say, if you'd have finished your chances there, you would have gone on and beat us. I think that Arsenal are a different kettle of fish defensively now, and I think that they will find it a little bit harder. But listen, if you said to me now, Arsenal going to come down and win 1-0, do you want to take that? I would. I'd bite your hand off for it.
Same here.
It's 3 points. I don't think it's going to be as easy as what it was against Fulham, and I certainly don't think that West Ham will roll over and die tomorrow. I don't think they can afford to.
Yeah,
I really don't think that they can afford to roll over and die as early as 2 games in the season because of what's going on with the fans. Let's be honest, the West Ham fans are not happy with what's going on. And listen, I thought Arsenal had it bad when we left Highbury for the Emirates. For West Ham, the pain of leaving the Bowling or Upton Park, whatever you want to call it. For me, the last time I went to Upton Park, it was the 3-3. Andy Carroll scored a hat-trick. It was a fantastic game. I was one of the last Arsenal fans to leave that game because been going to that ground so many years. It was probably the best away ground to go to, atmosphere-wise and everything like that. It was always great. You always felt close to the players. It was just, it was hostile, very, very hostile back in the 80s and all that. I can tell you, but it was iconic. It was an iconic stadium. To take that away, to go to an athletic stadium and, you look down and you see seats underneath you and, you're not close to the West Ham have had it tough. They've had it very, very tough. And so a West Ham team that's going to fold and roll over, I don't think that they will do that for those fans because whatever you want to say about West Ham's fans, they are loyal.
To the core, yeah.
To the core.
Yeah.
They give it their all. They're tremendously, loyal. You know what I mean? Because if I'll be honest, we've been kicked in the stomach over the last 5-6 seasons. This has been going on for West Ham for a very, very long time. You know what I mean? And they've been kicks and kicks. They still get up and they still vocal and they still support their team. And when we go back, their away ends will be packed like that. It always is.
Yeah.
So. I don't think that any West Ham team should roll over and die. So I don't expect to go on and beat you comfortably. If we do, then unfortunately you boys have got some massive problems that you're going to have to sort out within the next 2 weeks before that transfer window. Because if those players do give up tomorrow, because I can tell you one thing that Arsenal will do, whether they score goals or they defend well, whatever, Arsenal players instilled by Arteta will work 100%. They will work. And if West Ham don't match that work rate, Justin, then you're going to fall short. And I think West Ham fans can accept if Aubameyang scores a goal like he did against Fulham and things like that. But what I don't think West Ham fans will expect is a team like Arsenal outworking them. And I think that if that happens, then I think there could be problems. But listen, I'm going to go Arsenal 2. West Ham 0 as well, but I think that West Ham will give it a real good go tomorrow. I really do.
Yeah, we definitely don't accept anything less than 100%. I mean, that's really all we ask for, honestly. We don't want any team outworking us, to be fair. But yeah, for me personally, it's if you look at our run of fixtures, the next
tough,
so tough, and. But over the last few seasons, we've tended to rise to the level of our competition. Unfortunately, we've also fallen to the level of our competition many times too. But we've tended to really show up against, your Arsenal, Chelsea. I mean, we did the double over Chelsea last year. So we've tended to show up. I think, we haven't gotten really the results, but over the last 2 or 3 visits to the Emirates, I think we've actually played pretty well each and every time. We've given Arsenal a good run. It's tough. I definitely think Aubameyang is going to score a goal. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a brace, a little boost of the new signing. I think that's going to affect the morale of the whole club, to be fair. We've always struggled against Willian as well. I think he's going to terrorize our fullbacks. One of the weakest, probably the weakest part of our team at the moment. We desperately need a left back. Ryan Fredericks, our right back, is terribly inconsistent as well. Really worried defensively. We leak goal. We allow goals for fun at this point. So I don't see us not giving it our all, but I simply believe that there's a lack of confidence within the club generally, and combined with the morale boost of that new signing, the extension with Aubameyang. I see probably I'll give us a goal just to give us some positivity, but I think I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal. I see us like giving up.
I'll take that.
Yeah, same here. I'll take that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, with an Aubameyang brace, I think we'll see that as well. But gentlemen, I think we'll wrap it up now. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed meeting you both, hearing the origins about the podcast, and talking a little bit about AFTV as well, and just getting your guys' perspective on Arsenal and West Ham too. So it was really nice meeting you guys. Would definitely love to do this again for the reverse fixture as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Anytime, no problem.
Absolutely.
Right, good luck with the channel and everything as well, So I'll be rooting for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Take care, guys.
All the best.